Today we're going to review and put head to head the Philips Super Automatic and the Delonghi Super Automatic. Now in this particular case, these are two higher end models from the brands. This is the 5400, also similar to the 4300, and this one right here is the Dinamica Plus. Now there's very many variants of the Dinamica Plus. Some have Wi-Fi, some don't, some are a little bit older, some are newer, but in general, I think they're all very similar, and this is I believe the 370.85. I thought it would be really important to do this video because people often ask the question, which one is better, the Philips or the Delonghi? And I want to address that in this video. So we're going to take a look at the general build quality, the features, the use, and we're going to see, well, how much coffee do you even get in the coffee puck? And then we're going to do some comparisons. How is the espresso? How is the coffee crema? How is a cappuccino? To get started, I thought it would be interesting just to kind of compare the general build of these two machines. So this one right here by Philips, this machine is made in Romania. I want to mention that right away. Here it says Romania. That may be a factor for some people, where these machines are made. The Dinamica Plus is made in Italy. Now, they both include, a fair amount of plastic. There's plastic all around on both. This one includes a drip tray, it's very lightweight. The top part of the drip tray is metal, and otherwise it's just a little plastic casing here. Essentially, it does feel a bit cheaper than does the one on the Delonghi. The Delonghi one, it's a fair amount heavier. This metal is really heavy duty, and the plastic, I believe it's ABS plastic, that is a really pretty high quality plastic, at least the way that it feels. Of course, it is still made out of plastic. You can hear that, plastic on all sides. But the feeling of the plastic, it feels firmer somehow. It feels like a higher quality. I want to turn these machines around just so you can get a view of what they look like from the side. So here we go. This is a view of the machines with their water tanks. This is the other side view. As you can see here, they both do have some ventilation holes, as you can see, which is a good thing because you want the pucks to cool off. And let's have a look at the backs. All right, so on the backs, you can see this is the plug on the Philips, and you got some ventilation. On the Delonghi, you've actually got a power switch here, which is pretty nice. Let's do a quick comparison of their water tanks. This is the one from Philips. It's a softer plastic here, does not have a cover on top. The one from the Delonghi, you can see, is a clear plastic. It feels a little bit harder, and it does have a cover, in fact, on the top with a little funnel in it so that you can fill your water there. They both do have low water sensors, which is a very important thing. We could also compare the brew groups real quick. So the brew group of the Philips looks like this, and you may recognize it because Philips uses this in their machines, and Gaja uses it as well. So now that the machine is off, I can take out this brew group. This is what the brew group looks like in the Delonghi. So it's a much smaller unit, as you can see here. But actually, where the coffee goes, looks to be a little bit larger. I also do find that I get larger pucks with the Delonghi compared to the Philips, and we're going to take a look at that in just a little bit. All right, next, let's take a look at the HMIs and see which one is more intuitive.
Getting value from this video? Please take a moment to like and subscribe.
All right, now both of these machines have profiles. I'm on the blue profile right now on the Philips. The good thing about that is you can have different profiles for different people in your household. Green, pink, yellow, guest, and blue. But I want to have a look at setting up a drink. So first it tells you to choose one. Please select a drink. Okay, espresso. So then you can choose about how much you want for your dose. So I'm going to set that up as high as I can. All right, and then move over and you can choose the volume of your drink in milliliters. And I think that is a big advantage of the Philips over the Delonghi. It's much more transparent. I want to choose 30 milliliters for my espresso so that I get the strongest espresso that I can. And then all you have to do is press the play button and it's going to start. You can choose between drinks. You got espresso, coffee, crema, Americano. You've got milk-based drinks like cappuccino, latte macchiato, cafe au lait, and so on. You can also choose more drinks, and then you can use the arrows to move up and down for the other drinks available, including tea water. So I do find that very intuitive. But anyway, let's have a look at the Dinamica Plus. You've got your drinks here: espresso, coffee, doppio, cappuccino. If you hit next, you can see more drinks. That's one more thing. You might be intuitively wanting to swipe here, but you don't swipe, you have to press the buttons. So then you got more drinks here: hot water, milk, cappuccino, long, and so on. This one I don't like as much because if you just brush against any of these symbols here, it's going to start your drink already. I bumped up against it often on accident and started drinks when I didn't want to. So anyway, to set this one up, you can choose your drink size: small, medium, larger, and largest. And you can also choose your bean amount. Anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beans on there. I always use both of these with the highest setting of beans because I want to have, you know, a larger puck to get a nice intense drink. Alright, so what we're going to do next is pull a shot of espresso on each of these machines. We're going to listen to the grinder and see how that sounds. I'm going to try to pull the shots also to be similar. 30 milliliters here. I'm going to stop this one at 30 milliliters also. And then we're just going to compare the shot. Now, one thing to keep in mind is I'm using the same beans on both of these. I'm also using a similar grind. So I'm using a grind of, I believe, 3.5 on this one. And I'm using a grind of 2 on the Philips because the Philips uses ceramic burrs, whereas the Delonghi uses stainless steel conical burrs. With that being the case, I find that the Philips does not grind as fine as does the Delonghi. But they're both set on the finer end of the range. Here we're at 2, here we're at 3.5. Again, what I said I really like about the Philips is just press espresso. I've got the highest bean amount. I've got it set for 30 milliliters. Let's give it a shot. So it's pretty accurate too. It stopped there at about 31.5, 31.7 grams. And that's what it looks like there on the Philips Super Automatic. Let's see what it looks like on the Dinamica Plus. And what we're gonna do is, because the Dinamica limits what you can do on a normal espresso, we're gonna actually do the Doppio Plus, because this model, it's a higher end model and it does offer the Doppio Plus, which gives you a stronger shot, with the caveat that you have to stop it yourself. The reason that you have to do that is because it would expect you to pull at least 80 milliliters of liquid out, and we're just going to stop it right around 30. All right, so that's what we're looking at right there. The Crema is settling on this one here yet because it's a fresher shot, but I do believe it's got a little bit more Crema either way. Both got the same volume out. The shots, you can tell they look different because, of course, we got more coffee grounds into this shot from the Delonghi compared to the Philips. But let's give them a taste and see how they are. So the Philips one, it's really very mild. It's really very mild shot. It's not that deep of flavors either. Let's try the Delonghi. It's still got some crema on there. That was pretty darn good. That's a lot more intense. It's got notes that come to the forefront of your mind quickly, with something like a dark chocolate, a little sweetness that's reminiscent of maybe some kind of berry, maybe like a blackberry. This is something important that I wanted to show people, is that there is a good difference in the espresso made by these two machines. So the Philips makes smaller pucks and doesn't grind quite as fine, whereas the Delonghi makes larger pucks, they're ground finer, and you get a more intense shot. It's kind of a big deal. All right, what we're gonna do next is make a coffee crema on both. And I've got the Philips set up here for the largest amount of coffee. I'm gonna put it down to 150 milliliters, and let's go. Pretty accurate, 154, very good. That one actually did come out with a fair head of crema on there. That's pretty nice. Let's check the temperature. At the top, we got 75 degrees Celsius. That's a nice hot coffee. Let's do the same thing on the Dinamica Plus. And just to make a fair comparison, I'm gonna teach this one so that I get just 150 milliliters. So I'm gonna choose I'm gonna choose coffee. I'm gonna do the maximum bean amount, of course, as I did here as well. Okay. All right, I got it stopped at 150. And I saved my settings. And that looks nice and creamy as well. Let's check the temperature on that one. Oh gosh, almost 80 degrees. That's very hot. So it's a little bit less discernible because we're talking about coffee cremas here. But I feel like the Philips one is more on the mild side, and you do get a little bit more flavor here with the Delonghi. Yeah. It's a nice way to start the morning with a tasty coffee crema. Next, let's do milk-based drinks. Let's do a cappuccino and see how these two compare. Now these two milk crafts are also a fair amount different. You can see that the one on the Delonghi is quite a bit larger. It's also dual walled and it's stronger in my opinion. Let's stick that guy in there. What I do like about the Philips, however, is that it's really easy just to hook on. All you gotta do is put it right on there like that. So let's make the comparison. I've got cappuccino set up with the maximum bean amount, with 30 milliliters of coffee, and with 150 milliliters of milk. Let's give it a shot. Stopped at 80. And the shot was 25 milliliters. So with that being the case, I'm gonna make a similar size on the Delonghi just for an accurate comparison. But of course, it comes down to how is the milk foam. Can you see that? On the Philips, it's relatively frothy. Pretty frothy, actually. It's not microfoam, and I don't think you can expect microfoam really from a super automatic, but I think that the Delonghi is going to get closer. So can you see that, how the texture is? I mean, It's foam, but it could be silkier. Not bad actually, because it's not that much milk, only 80 milliliters, so actually a pretty tasty drink. And to be fair, we're gonna do the same thing here on the Delonghi. I'm gonna set it up. All right, what we're going to do is go to I'm gonna choose cappuccino, maximum bean amount, okay. And I'm gonna stop this one also once it hits 80 grams. Okay. All right, so that is our cappuccino here on the Delonghi. And if you can see the milk foam, that's what it looks like. It is also it's a little bit bubbly on the top, but the texture is a bit better. It's a bit silkier if you can see that. The bubbles are a bit more fine porous. It's still not like a microphone you can get if you use a steam wand on an espresso machine, but it's a fair amount creamier. The taste is a good amount creamier, to be honest. It's good, really good. Brings out the sweetness in the milk. Let's see how the taste is. That's nice. I would say nicer because it's more intense. So try this one again. It's not bad on the Philips, but it's better on the Delonghi for me. So those are the cappuccinos. And if we're being honest, actually if we put milk in first and espresso on top, it's actually a latte macchiato. What I would like to do is turn off the machine as soon as it's done grinding and weigh the brew group to see how much we're actually getting out. So first, I have to tear out the scale. Now I'm gonna press OK for it to grind. And when it's done grinding, I'm gonna turn the machine off and take out the brew group. Okay, so let's see how much we got. $8.6. So that is pretty consistent with what I found up until now. The most that I can get out of this machine is anywhere between 7 and 9 grams, all depending on the grind fineness and kind of depending a little bit on the bean. But really, that's the maximum. 9 grams. So we're gonna do the same thing with this machine. So the Delonghi does work differently than the Philips. I don't remove the brew group because it's not removable once there's grounds in it. Instead, I have to wait for it to eject the grounds when I abort the shot. So let's do that once. And we're gonna do a little trick. It's called the Doppio Plus. I find that this machine grinds the most amount for the Doppio Plus. So I've got this grounds container teared out. So Doppio Plus. Okay, it's done grinding. I just removed the power. Now when I turn it back on, it's going to eject it and we can see how much it weighs. So 12.7. Now I do find that you get anywhere between 12 and 15 grams with the Doppio Plus, all kind of depending on the beans that you're using and the grind, but also I believe that the processor inside here is not super granular. Sometimes you'll hear 8 seconds of grinding, which equals about 12 grams. It's about 1.5 grams per second. Sometimes it'll grind for 9 seconds, sometimes even up to 10 seconds. And I think that just has to do with the clock time, with the cycle time of the processor inside here. That would be my guess. But whatever the case, you got here nearly 13 grams, and here you only got nearly 9 grams. So that's actually about 50% more that you're getting here with the Delonghi Dinamica Plus. Now, one more thing to compare, of course, are the spent pucks. What do they look like? Let's have a look at one. That is from the Philips. That's what the Philips looks like right there. And it's also broken on the Delonghi, but I can actually pick that one up. You see how thick that one is in comparison, and you can tell that it is much more finely ground and compact. So if you compare these two, the Philips looks quite a bit different from the Delonghi. Here's the other side of it. So that is a nice big puck on the Delonghi, whereas here on the Philips, I can't quite pick it up. It's a bit too coarse, and it just kind of falls apart there. Okay, so as a conclusion, which one of these machines is better for your household? I will say this, when it comes down to drink quality, espresso quality and milk foam quality, the Delonghi for me is the clear winner. When it comes to ergonomics, intuitiveness, the user experience at home, I do feel like the Philips is better. It's just easier to parameterize your drink, and I really like that it shows you milliliters. On the Delonghi, you can choose, for example, you can choose different cup sizes, so small, medium, largest, but you don't know what that means in milliliters. You can program it on your own with this My function. However, I simply find that the Philips is more intuitive. From a build quality standpoint, I feel like Delonghi is also the clear winner. To me, it feels like the housing is a better quality. I like more that the burrs are stainless steel, and I can even grind fine enough with this machine if I put fresh beans inside, freshly roasted, to even stall this machine. So I'm able to grind fine enough and get a large enough puck to even stall this machine. With the Philips, on the other hand, with those ceramic blades inside, it doesn't get fine enough, the puck is not large enough, and therefore the drinks are less intense. Now, as far as aesthetics are concerned, I mean, that is something that's just completely subjective. I do like that the Philips includes a light here, which is super nice. So it's got an LED inside there, and I believe when the drink starts is when it turns the LED on. That's very nice. But yeah, that's about all the thoughts that I have on these two machines. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and if so, give it a like. If you thought it was terrible, give it a dislike. Whatever the case, until next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.